So the world clearly recognized the gravity on global climate challenge. On the other hand, the world has also recognized the role of forests to tackle the global threat in all aspects, include economic, ecological, and social dimensions. So this session, we will explore on how to conduct a good forestry governance, how to utilize the advancement of technology, digitalization, and information system in order to promote a good forestry governance. So we will start the session by presenting to you a short video which is about to unfold before your eyes. So please enjoy.
The Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, or SFM, is present in both production and conservation forest areas throughout the archipelago. Forest areas are managed effectively, efficiently, and sustainably according to their primary function and purposes by forest management units, or FMUs. Sustainable forest management is carried out by FMUs from upstream to downstream. To ensure effective and efficient management for all parties, every stage has been digitized. It all begins with area patterning, structuring, and FMU development. In this process, the FMU organizes the forest for logging, planting, or relogging. In forest utilization, business actors can apply for business permits through Forestry multi-business according to the indicative map for forest utilization. By applying for a Forestry multi-business license, business actors can carry out several business activities. This license will establish a new forestry business ecosystem, not only rely on timber. The range of application includes the usage of land and environmental services. Trees as sources of timber and non-timber products, both those that still have the physical characteristic of timber and products that no longer have the physical characteristic of timber. To ensure proper compliance with forest regulation and prevent exploitation or violation, accurate, precise, and consistent evaluation and controls are conducted. This measure also contributes to decrease deforestation rates and increasing carbon absorption and storage, which are essential priorities for the follow net sink. Managing all forest products, forestry fees, and revenue from forest products is also an important chain in the business process of sustainable forest management. To streamline administrative process, SFM provides 3 digital platforms that business actors can access. The estuary of the sustainable forest management process is the processing and marketing of forest products. Many aspects are managed here, including forest product production, marketing product certification, to export. Integrated management from upstream to downstream has resulted in high productivity of sustainable forests, including extent of forest planting and enrichment, forest use coverage, total log production, and the export value of forestry industry production. This showcases the accomplishment of sustainable forests. By promoting multi-business, integrating management, and digitizing the business process, we can conserve forests, increase carbon absorption and storage, intensify planting, and restore the environment towards achieving ecological, economic, and social sustainability. From the Directorate General of Sustainable Forest Management for Indonesia and the world.
Okay. I hope the video would have give you a brief idea of what our government do in conducting a good forestry governance. But to have a better idea on it, let's invite our moderator. She's a representative from Indonesian Association Forestry Concessionaries. Let's welcome Ibu Trisia Megawati.
Wow, it's a blessed day today. Honorable Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, Mr. Agus Justianto, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, hello and good afternoon. My name is Trisha Megawati. I'm from the Indonesian Association of the Forest Concessionaires, and I will be moderating today's discussion. First and foremost, I want to convey my warmest welcome and heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has been willing to attend this session. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the speakers. But before that, Indonesia, as one of the mega biodiversity countries with nearly 63% of its terrestrial areas being forest areas, promotes a new paradigm of sustainable forest management based on 5 pillars: legal certainty of forest areas, business legality, productivity, product diversification, and product competitiveness. To put the 5 pillars, the one that I mentioned just now, into action, technological advancement is critical in strengthening forest governance. The Indonesian governance encourages the incorporation of the technology, digitalization, and information system into forest management services and approaches. Indeed, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry created an information system on forest product administration to demonstrate the government's strong commitment to supporting planning, decision-making, management, implementation, and monitoring of forest resources, even land cover, forest utilization, and other activities that contribute to transparent and good forestry governance. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, today's talk we will be on promoting, good forestry governance in managing production and protection forests. Now, I would like to invite distinguished guests to come to the stage. I would like to invite Dr. Drasos Polino, Secretary Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Please, Mr. Ino, to come forward. The second speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Ade Mokadi, Director of Levy and Forest Product Administration, Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Mr. Ade, please come forward. The third speaker, distinguished speakers, the lady over there, I would like to invite Natasha Schickman, Acting CEO and Climate Policy Manager, the Australian Forest Product Association. Please give a big applause to her. And the last speaker, I would like to invite Dr. Han Okma, Project Manager, the International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to, introduce the distinguished speakers here. And dear speakers, we have only 1 hour and 20 minutes. So please, all the speakers, be mindful of the time constraint. And then I would like to invite the first speakers, Mr. Dr. Drasos Polino. Dr. Drasos Polino has a senior position at the Director General of Sustainable Forest Management. His areas of expertise include GIS, forest conservation, forest management unit, and forest planning and utilization. He has 32 years experience in the Ministry of Ministry of Environment and Forestry. He currently serves as Secretary of the Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, in addition to functioning as Director of Forest Planning and Utilization. He has a doctorate from Brawijaya University, a master's degree in science from Edinburgh University, and a forestry degree from Bogor Agricultural University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ino.
Thank you, Bu Tricia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, selamat siang, Honorable Bapak Dr. Agus Yusianto, Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and honorable speakers and moderator, and distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the Ministry of Environment and Forestry of the Republic of Indonesia and the Indonesian Pavilion Secretariat here. I'm honored to be present today and share this digital data management in sustainable forest management of Indonesia. Distinguished participants and ladies and gentlemen, referring to the government of Indonesia Nawacita, the government presents by building a clean, effective, democratic, and trustworthy governance. Information is made available for public and to encourage public participation in policy making and transparent management. Data is new world for our nation, now that it's more valuable than oil. Indonesia has about 120 million hectares of forest, with proportion of production forests about 68 million hectares and 20 million of production forests. With these two functional forests managed under the Sustainable Forest Management of the Directorate General. The spatial information of forest provide information such as the indicative map of forest utilization as a reference for granting a multiple business permit. We call it in Indonesia is PBPH, for utilizing the protected forest and production forest. And for the sustainable forest management business process, SFM business process from upstream to downstream, and the implementation of the constitution and regulation in the forest utilization, in protection forest and production forest. The process began with the assessment of forest resources as a basis data for forest management plan, and will be used as a reference for the general work plan and annual work plan for all activities related to the forest management and the utilization of production forest and protected forests. Forest utilization activities implementing multiple business in managed forest land, namely timber and non-timber forest product utilization, and or environmental service utilization. This is designed to optimize the utilization of forest area in protected forest and production forest in a sustainable manner and consider carrying capacity of the environment. The sustainability of forest management is also ensured through traceability of forest product and or the legality and sustainability verification system. We got in Indonesia is SVLK. The business process defined in legal product is implemented in electronic government system based on the needs of the community and forest entrepreneur, considering the involvement technology to make it accessibility, effectively multi-stakeholder. Sustainable forest management, the DG provide application information system to support business process from upstream to downstream, including SFM online services. From upstream, this the spatial information portal, and then we also have the information system for developing of the management plan, the information for the online single submission, and then the information for the forest management technical personnel, and the information system for the monitoring, reporting, the implementation of forest management by the PBPH for monitoring and evaluating, and up to fee timely and secure issuance of legal document for forestry industry export. We call it SIL. All of this information system and digital platform is designed to provide a transparent service for public information by Satu Data SIPHPL. In Indonesia, Satu Data SIPHPL, or One Data for the Sustainable Forest Management Information System. Satu Data SIPHPL It aggregates from data from upstream to downstream, source from various system and application. And the goal of the digital data management, the digital data can support SFM by providing easy access to data for public stakeholder and other benefits such as better and confident decision, provide a strong basis for allocating budget to various strategic program or activities, and then reducing the risk of inconsistent and improving overall data quality, and encourage better collaboration by facilitating data sharing between various organization unit, and then providing public information can strengthen public participation in decision making and ensure government accountability. And the last is enable quick access to information, supporting fast decision making and responsiveness. Special information provide information such as the indicative map in forest utilization as a reference for granting a business licensing or PBPH for utilizing protected areas, protected forests, and production forests. The spatial information is important to monitor the dynamic of the condition of the forest resources. And forest planting is one stage of forest product utilization activities that aims to increase the productivity of forest area. Forest enrichment is the planting of trees in forest area that has low level of regeneration rate and focus on areas that have been harvested. Forest enrichment can also be carried out through the intensive silviculture technique, or we call it sealing, which is involved increasing the diversity of trees by optimally utilizing growing space. This metadata is sourced from PBPH reporting online system, or CPAS HUD. We can see the planting and enrichment in Jambi provinces. Forest production in Indonesia is one of the largest in the world. In 2022, the production of forest timber in Indonesia reached 56.6 million cubic meters, marking a 3.14% increase from the previous year. As of November 2023, the timber production has reached 54.2 million cubic meters, an increase from various sourcing, including plantation forests, natural forests, plant, Perumperutani, our state-owned forestry company in Java Island, and community of forests. This achievement needs to be maintained and improved to ensure that the benefit of the forests are optimally by community and private sector. And ladies and gentlemen, the dashboard provides information on transportation or movement of log originating from the production forest. Data include type of wood, sender recipient of transportation document, and then volume, transportation route, document time, and other information can be traced. And the DG of SFM provide information of the circulation of logs transportation. For example, from the province of East Kalimantan, the circulation of the logs, rimba campuran, for example, eucalyptus log from PBPH plantation forest. Another example is from the province of Central Kalimantan, the circulation of the Soria species, roundwood such as red Soria, occurring from PBPH of natural growing timber forest. NTFP, non-timber forest product, and timber production from forests are both important contribution to the economy and the environment. In recent years, NTFP production has increased significantly as countries have sought to diversify their forest resources and reduce pressure on timber from natural forests. NTFP are a diverse range of products that can be derived from forests, namely resin, latex, rattan, forest root, and species. NTFP production can have positive impact on both local and national economies, providing economic opportunities for rural communities and generating added value from the feasible use of forest resources. You can see in 2022, there was 67.3% increase in the Indonesian NTFP production. In 2023, NTFP is produced the amount of about around 692,800, which are distributed from several provinces, such as Central Kalimantan, East Java, and Lampung. The increase of the non-tax state revenues from the forest utilization show that forest management in Indonesia is starting to show positive result, this certainly needs to be maintained and improved optimally for the benefit of the forest, for community and state. Non-tax state revenues from the forest utilization sector is improved through strengthening law enforcement in forestry sector, and then improving the efficiency and effectiveness of forest management, developing the market for forest product, and this effort need to be carried out in an integrated manner in order to provide optimum result. The Indonesia government is simplifying regulation in the forestry sector to improve the efficiency of non-tax state revenue services. One of the fourth is to implement the PNBP information system, or Indonesia we call it SE-PNBP. To ensure the availability of timber raw materials in the downstream, the DG of SFM conducts monitoring and processing and marketing business permit for forest products that receive raw material to be processed into the industries. This is done through the SERPBPHH, ensuring the market demand are fulfilled. In 2023, the production of wood product has been dominated by wood chips, plywood, sawn timber, veneer, blockwood, and wood pellet. This system is profiling the distribution of these products by provinces, such as wood chips are produced in the Riau, South Sumatra, and Jambi, plywood produced in the province of East Java, Central Java, and South Kalimantan, sawn timber in East Java, Central Java, North Sumatra, veneer in East Java, Central Java, and Papua, blockboard in the province of East Java and South Java, and wood pellet in the province of Gorontalo, East Java, and Central Kalimantan. Export of forest product. The export data of wood product is based on the issuance of fee legal document and flexi license for the European Union, which are documented evidence that guarantee the sustainability and legality of the wood product to be exported. The issuance of the fee legal document is carried out through the verification process at the Independent Verification Assessment Institution, or LPVI, after the prospective exporter has met the standards stipulated in the Timber Legality and Sustainability Verification System, or SVLK, and obtained as legality. From the data of the last 3 years represented in the SATU data ACPHPL, the progress of the forest product exports saw an increase of 4.4% in 2022 compared to the previous year. As of 2023, the total has reached $11.7 million, which the majority of exports 69% to Asia continent, North America at 14.7%, the European Union is 8.1%, and the rest to other continents. For example, the European Union imports a significant portion of the Indonesia forest product, including 35.6% of wooden furniture, 31.5% in paper, 19% in panels, and 13.9% in other products. Another major export destinations are China, United States, Japan, India, Korea, Vietnam, Malaysia, Australia, Taiwan, the United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. Export to China, for example, is dominated by forest products such as pulp, paper, woodworking, and panels. Similarly, export to the United Arab Emirates include forest products of paper, pulp, panel, and furniture. The government of Indonesia would like to emphasize that our forest products adhere to standard legality and sustainability verification system. In the midst of demand for transparency and data accuracy, SATU data ACPHPL emerged as a solution that provides answer to this challenge. This platform offers access to data related to sustainable forest management from upstream to downstream. The data is obtained from various systems and applications used in business processes. And the most important thing is that data analysis become a measure of the success of the regulation or policy that have been implemented. I think that's all my presentation, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned at the beginning. So he's explaining about the technology. And I was mentioning about that technological advancement is critical in strengthening forestry government. And he's explaining that. And I think one thing that I would like to underline also what he's explaining is digital data is very important. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the next speaker. And he would like to explain more, on the digital things. And I would like to introduce the second speaker, Mr. Ade Mukadi. Mr. Ade Mukadi, Director of Levy and Forest Product Administration, Directorate General of Sustainable Forest Management, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Mr. Adi Mukadi is an accomplished forester with 25 years of experiences in the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, beginning as a junior staff and progressing to the head of section for forest planning use and head of regional South Sumatra and West Kalimantan extension offices. The most recent appointment is as Director of Levy and Forest Product Administration. Mr. Ade Mukadi graduated from Bogor Agricultural University with a forestry degree and a Master of Public Administration. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ade.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Dr. Agus Justianto, Director General of Sustainable Forest Management, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, the Republic of Indonesia. Honorable speakers and moderator, and distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Ade Mukadi, Director of Levy and Forest Product Administration. It's a great pleasure that I can be here and share information on transparency in forest products administration system to support good forestry governance in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, what is forest products administration? Forest product administration, here and after we call it as PUHH, is the activity of recording and reporting on production planning, harvesting, or logging, measuring, testing, marking, transporting, distributing, processing, and marketing forest product. There are three aspects of forest product administration: legality, traceability, and sustainability. Legality, forest utilization is an activity to utilize forest areas, environmental service, timber and non-timber forest products, extraction to optimally produce and support for the welfare of the community while maintaining sustainability. Legality principle is forest products from legally sourced of forest legal license. Legal wood timber if the requirement meet the origin of the timber logging permits, logging system, and procedures, transportation, processing, and trade or transfer. Traceability, the ability to track the source of forest product in finished products through the supply chain to their point of origin. Sustainability, forest management to meet the needs and demand of sustainability forest resources. Forest product evaluation, recording and reporting activities on production planning, harvesting or logging, measuring, testing, marking, transporting, processing, and marketing forest product. The objective of forest product evaluation, legality assurance, forest areas and forest products, distribution of forest product and forest sustainability. The benefit of forest product evaluation to available data and information, effective and efficient monitoring tools, and 24 hours. Legality, traceability can be done through document at each timber delivery node, traceability document covering the supply chain from the forest agent, sawmills, supplier. To ensure traceability of log from upstream to downstream, the process is guaranteed through SPLK certification that considers legal, production, ecological, and social aspect. The process of chain of custody including registration audit plan publication, audit process, audit report, and issuance of certificates. Business process of forest product addressation can be observed in the diagram. Traceability available truth information system, namely SIPASHUT, SIGANESHUT, SIPU, SIPNBP, SIPBI, and SILK. Traceability for high-level decision makers has been presented through one data atau data. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 pillars of sustainable forest management are: first, area certainty. The Indonesian government has been undertaking measures to clarify the boundaries and administrative designations of forest areas to ensure greater legal certainty in their management. Second, business guarantee, strengthening business certainty of revitalizing forestry business and optimizing value chains. 3, productivity. There are various ways to increase the productivity of forest product in Indonesia. 4, product diversification is an effort to develop a variety of products from forests, not just limited to timber. Several initiatives relate to forestry product diversification. 5th, competitiveness. There are several ways to increase the competitiveness of forestry products. By implementing this, it's hoped that it can increase the competitiveness of Indonesian forestry products in the global market. Ladies and gentlemen, next is the video about the implementation forest product implementation in Indonesia. Please.
Sistem Penatausahaan Hasil Hutan atau SIPU adalah aplikasi pendataan berbasis digital dengan sistem kredibel yang menjamin legalitas pemanenan, pengangkutan, pengolahan, dan penelusuran kayu. SIPU hadir sebagai wujud inisiasi pemerintah dalam memberantas pembalakan liar dan pemanfaatan kayu yang dipanen secara ilegal. SIPU adalah alat identifikasi praktis untuk membedakan kayu legal dan ilegal yang menerapkan prinsip sustainability, traceability, dan legality. Setiap kayu dapat diketahui asal-usul dan legalitasnya. Data yang tercatat dalam SIPU, satu kayu, satu ID, berbasis transaksi, dilakukan di setiap titik distribusi kayu, mulai dari penebangan hingga industri. Melalui SIPU, seluruh perusahaan yang bergerak di bidang pemanfaatan hutan wajib melakukan pencatatan menggunakan aplikasi SIPU pada setiap simpul rantai pasok. Pencatatan dilakukan secara digital. Sebelum penebangan, setiap pohon dipasang ID barcode berisi data petak tebangan, nomor pohon, jenis pohon, dan letak geografis pohon. Pencatatan selanjutnya saat pohon telah ditebang, antara lain pencatatan data ID barcode berupa jenis kayu, panjang, dan diameter. Jika pohon yang ditebang dipotong menjadi 2 bagian atau lebih, maka setiap bagiannya harus diberi kode batang ID baru yang merupakan turunan dari barcode ID sebelumnya. Wajib disertakan dokumen pengangkutan yang diterbitkan secara digital melalui SIPU dengan barcode ID sebagai identitas tunggalnya. Selanjutnya, pencatatan saat kegiatan penerimaan di lokasi tujuan pengangkutan. Setiap log yang diterima, dilakukan pemeriksaan fisik dan dicatat dengan memindai barcode ID log. barcode tanda pengenal kayu atau dokumen pengangkutan yang tidak diterbitkan melalui aplikasi SIPU dapat dipastikan log tersebut tidak sah atau ilegal. Itulah rangkaian pencatatan rekam jejak log yang terdokumentasi dengan baik di database aplikasi SIPU dari penerbangan hingga industri.
SIPU merupakan terobosan integrasi sistem hulu hilir sampai di industri lanjutan dan ekspor.
Penerbitan dokumen yang sangat cepat hingga produktivitas kerja kami juga meningkat.
Proses pelayanan dokumen angkutan sangat jauh lebih cepat.
SIPU ini meningkatkan efektivitas.
Dengan SIPU, setiap log dapat diketahui asal-usul dan legalitasnya. SIPU untuk pengelolaan hutan lestari.
Ladies and gentlemen, lesson learned. First, regulatory preparation as a legal basis for carrying out activities. Second, system development commitment from top management. Third, facilitation, dissemination, mentoring, and help desk to provide optimal service. Fourth, system management in line with regulation to ensure compliance with applicable regulations. Fifth, law enforcement. Law enforcement related to forest management license is also involved various aspects, including the application of administrative sanction to ensure compliance with applicable regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, forestry is not just about timber. It's about the sustainable management of our natural resources. That's all. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ade. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, like I mentioned, whether we like it or we don't like it, technology is part of our daily life, right? So one sentence that I would mention here, just to summarize a little bit about his presentation, technology plays a central role, evident in the Information System and Forest Product Administration, which is created by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Give an applause to Pak Ade, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the most beautiful lady here in this session from our neighbor, from Australia, I would like to invite the third speakers is Natasha Schickman. She is Acting CEO and Climate Policy Manager, the Australian Forest Product Association, EFPA. Natasha is an experienced policy manager with a track record of crafting policy for the forest product business. She is competent in research, analytical skill, communication, presentation, and strategy, of course. She is a strong community and social services professional with a Bachelor of Applied Science in Psychology from the Australian National University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Natasha. The time is yours.
Good morning, and thank you for that warm welcome. Just going to quickly get my notes up. Okay. Yes. So I'd like to really start by thanking the Indonesian government for welcoming Australia here today and to have us part of this really important discussion. My name is Natasha Schickman, and as it's been said, I'm the Acting CEO of the Australian Forest Products Association. We represent the entire sustainable forestry and forest products supply chain. And like our other speakers have discussed today, forestry and the products that we produce are critically important to our everyday lives. We have companies in our association who plant the trees, grow the trees, harvest the trees, process those products into products that we use in our everyday lives, and also make the products that are our fibre-based paper and packaging products. Much of our work is about advocating on behalf of our members to governments to ensure that Australia's forest legal and policy frameworks that regulates not only sustainable forestry, but also the broader land sector is robust and has high integrity. This work is critically important because if forest governance is not robust and has high integrity, it's actually been shown to be, it can actually be quite harmful to forest landscapes, but also to the ecosystems and the local people, communities, and the broader society. And, you know, being at COP, and I think it's really important since we are at COP that we recognise that there's been lots of discussions about forests and forest products and also, you know, how we need to protect forests and the role that nature-based solutions will play in achieving the goals of the Paris Agreement. And I just want to touch on the fact that you need to be able to measure the forest and the impacts of forests, but not only on the forest, but also those peoples and communities to ensure that we do have really robust legal frameworks and governance for the forests and the sustainable management of those forests. Otherwise, what we could end up doing, and some of the decisions that Australian policymakers have made have actually been a little bit, well, have been detrimental to Australia's forests. What we've seen in the 2019-20 bushfires, and I know that many countries are experiencing the same issues, is that the impact on the forest from these bushfires can be really severe. In Australia, it's estimated that in the 2019 and 20 bushfires, that over 3 billion animals were displaced or killed during those fires. It's critically important that we manage, that we collect the data from that, but that we also understand the impact of the changing climate on those forests. And I think that's something that the data collection really can support good policy making as we move forward. So yesterday, at the discussion about the Forest and Climate Leaders Partnership on delivering the Glasgow Pledge to halt and reverse deforestation, we saw that key to this pledge was a recognition of the legal recognition of Indigenous peoples and communities, but that also data was going to be critically important. And I think when we think about data, and we see it in other sectors, so if we think about the health sector or the education sector, they've been using what we call big data for a long time. Forestry needs to understand how we can better utilise that, and that data has to be freely available across jurisdictions so that we as a global society understand the impacts of on our forests. Because our forests and those ecosystems around them are not isolated just to our own countries. It's really important that we protect biodiversity and actually, those impacts on those forests in a really robust way. So we know that climate change is putting pressure on nature and biodiversity, and it's important that we value that natural capital and also our ecosystems. Ecosystems are very complex systems, and I think when we see them working in good harmony, we actually have really good outcomes for our forests, also our people and society in general. But without the data, and if we're not measuring the impacts, we won't be able to actually have those good policy and governance frameworks to ensure that we are delivering really good outcomes for our forests. In Australia, to undertake good governance, our government has actually looked at that digitisation of the forests, and I think, I'm only looking, I've just decided to just look at something like drones in forests. I think being able to understand the multiple benefits that large data and collecting this information can actually provide to those policymakers. Policymakers often are not innately connected to the work that we do within our forests, and I think it is having those people who actually protect and manage those forests at the decision-making table is really critically important. In Australia, the government has set up a strategic working partnership between the unions representing the people in the forest and those who are affected by the livelihoods of the jobs that go with those forests, and also industry. So it is a co-chaired management system providing advice to government. And I think that that's a really powerful thing that the Australian government has done in recognition that policymakers don't know it all. And that is something I think that as we move forward and we start to collect the data and policymakers can start to create the policies that actually will be beneficial for the forest, and understanding that holistic system, that sustainable management of forests is actually very good for forests across all jurisdictions. So not just not trying to divide the forest into those conservation type forests and production forests, but understand that forests actually impact across the whole wide spectrum of all forests together. And so I think that then brings into this concept of systems thinking. We need to think about it, and I talk about ecosystems, but really it is that systems thinking and bringing it to that higher level so that we understand what role data will actually play in the forest's policy management. And of course that just comes down to, what is good forest governance. And I just really wanted to just put this on here to remind people that good forest governance is actually a collection of different actors coming together in order to make good policies. And this is really critically important to allow this space, and thank you to Indonesia for allowing us to have this conversation, is to actually bring those different voices to the table and for everyone to work together for the betterment of our forests. And through that, we need to really understand what role data will play in the development of future policies. So I don't want to go too deep into exactly all the things that Australia was doing as far as a data perspective goes, because I think our other two speakers really highlighted that, how critical data is and what is sustainable forest management. I really want to urge all governments, and when I'm here at COP looking at the discussions that are happening, to actually understand that we've got the technology now. Our forests are doing great things. The products are used in our everyday lives everywhere, but it's really about turbocharging it and starting to really have serious conversations about what more needs to be done in order to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement, but also to ensure that we protect nature, our biodiversity, Indigenous people's rights, and also, collectively as a whole, we understand just how critically important our forests are to the future survival and, thriving of our nation moving forward, or our globe, I should say, moving forward. So that's where I'm going to leave it. And thank you for inviting me again to speak. And I'm looking forward to the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Natasha. I think this is what I do like it from your presentation, I read that if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. Yeah, that's what I think it's very interesting. And you need to value it to manage it. And this is the whole concept of your presentation. And Indonesia and Australia, I think we are the same on the same context and on the same frame, right? So I think let's go to the next speakers, which is, I think he will elaborate more on this digital thing. And what I do understand from Natasha's presentation, digitalization of sustainable forest management is a must, right? Okay, give a big applause to Natasha, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the last speaker, but not least, of course, is Dr. Wan Okma, Project Manager, International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. ITTO Forester Dr. Okma is experienced. He helped create ITTO voluntary guidelines for sustainable management of natural tropical forests and environmental and social safeguard. And the ITTO or CBD Collaborative Initiative for Tropical Forest Biodiversity Mr. Okma building capacity in mangrove restoration, community forest, sustainable forest management, and RDDD plus governance, forest-based climate change mitigation, as well as adaptation, and of course, biodiversity conservation. He has Bachelor in Forestry from Korea University, a Master in Forest Product Marketing, and a PhD in Forest Resource Economic from University of Washington, USA. Give a big applause of Mr. Ma. Please welcome Mr. Ma. The time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nice introduction. Good afternoon, dear colleague. I'm very grateful to be here with my other colleague to talk about SFM and good practice. When I learned early stage, I'm forester, we learned sustainability. But today we have seen more than sustainability, like the legality and traceability. In addition, also I learned very much the digitalization. I think this is very, very interesting, today learning. So the presentation more or less, Natasha also pointed out the definition of the good governance. Somehow how to moving up just the governance like definition. We like to share some of the basic guideline or basic principle. How do we define the SFM and sustainability? That is my also presentation. Also, I like to share some of the example from smallholder. We had a large producer from Indonesia, wonderful, but I like to share some of the example. So starting point, nature-based solution. I think this COP28 or people COP28, we are very much learning from what is the nature-based solution. Nature-based solution to address some urgent issue, climate change, biodiversity loss. I think the nature-based solution, what? So last year, 22, the UN Environment Assembly, they officially adopt nature-based solution as action to protect and conserve, restore, sustainably use and manage of the natural resources. I think this is very much the very straightforward definition. And also Natasha mentioned about the governance, like the stakeholder, make a binding decision, management, conservation, management, use of the forest resources. I think that somehow interlinked with this one. So there are several principles, but nature-based solution also they pointed out this kind of the nature is a mother. Nature kind of provides solution. So based on the such the principle, we can address many. We are the natural disaster or all the issue that nature-based solution. So as I mentioned, this the SFM. We go back to SFM. I think today most of the speaker, I like congratulate our Secretary General and also Director. Fantastic presentation about how to move forward SFM. So SFM definition is managing forest to achieve one of the clearly specific objective without undue desirable effect on the physical and social environment. Safeguard environment and the people. I think that was, as I mentioned, nature-based solution last year, but ITTO, all the experts defined about 20 years ago, this definition. ITTO had evolved this kind of the guidance for policymaker, practitioner, also NGO or academic to how to promote each together. So there are 7 principles starting from good governance and the security of tenure. I think tropical country, Latin America, Asia Pacific, or Congo Basin. Equally important issue is how to address the tenure issue and proper land use planning. Those things are really starting out the principle, and then also make a more healthy forest for productive landscape, and also sustainable investment in the SFM. That's such the important guideline. And the ITTO working together with our member in the three tropical region, as well as the member from consumer country, including Australia, neighboring country, Japan, China, United States, European Union. We are working together. ITTO many priority. Currently, we are working very much the legality and sustainability. So we had the capacity building and also consensus about all the with the main stakeholder. At the same time, also we are promoting the biodiversity conservation, more the focus on the product landscape, not instead of the protect forest, more the landscape, and then landscape restoration, etc. And then also we are working very much like the forest fire, important issue. And the previous speaker very much identified the Indonesian situation. Generally, we understand the tropical landscape. There are three types or four types we can define. So there are important protection forest, conservation forest, but there are at the same time there are production forests in Indonesia, 68 million hectares. I think the protection forest somehow ITTO we are promoting. Sustainable harvesting is not deforestation. Sustainable harvesting is not deforestation. Sustainable harvesting is making the product for the benefit of the society and the environment. So in the production forest, we are timber production, some case also some waste go to other, like the wood energy many ways. So this is somehow the production forest. How to more we learned the 5 pillar from SFM Indonesia. Productivity also important. So this is our challenge, how to make a more efficient productivity in the production forest. Also, conservation forest, how to more effectively conserve the protect forest. I have been somehow the wonderful biosphere reserve in in Bogor and Sibodas and then many area. I think that this is, I believe, the other speaker and about production forest. So we are also in terms of the carbon contribution. We understand the carbon can be like the reduced through the reduced impact logging, more environment-friendly logging, and also pure wood substitution, like the bioenergy production. That is clear. So we understand from production forest, like the annual or concession area, commercial plantation, or the product forest, 1 hectare, like the annual plan, annual coup, and we move to detailed map. And this map within like the 1 hectare means somehow the 1 soccer field. Similar to 1 soccer field, there are only allowed to 3 or 4 trees, around 20 cubic meter. That is the general way. So we are not allowed, practitioner not allowed to harvest in the mother tree and also slope and then also watershed area. Somehow a lot of some requirement. So based on that good practice, I think the practice they can produce. And then in terms of the reducing impact logging, that a lot of the opportunity, carbon emission reduction, also waste from the harvesting site, around 30–40% of the tropical country, there is a lot of waste. So we can increase use of the waste. And then also wood processing factory, there are a lot of the residue coming up, and those can be go to the wood energy, so that another chance for the carbon contribution. So ITTO working for legal and social supply chain. We work with the TIC project in the Mekong region and upstream, downstream, and somehow this is quite important, starting from the conserving genetic resources, and also quality seedling, and also intermediate, also how to improve the some silviculture practice. So we have seen sometime in the case of TIC, we have seen smallholder, like 2 hectares, 3 hectares around the world. A lot of the smallholder are working, so how to increase their productivity through more good practice. Also how to add the value, that's somehow the important issue. In case of the teak, we learned that teak is also important species like teak and mahogany and all species. we have seen somehow the teak product go to India and some 94%, and then Vietnam and China 6%. And Africa case, Ghana banning the a lot of 25% production, but Latin America, Brazil, Colombia, and Costa Rica, they also produce. They are very much exporting to India. So this is some of the interesting figure. And supply chain. First, I think that we understand the sustainability and certification. So supply chain from the good seed orchard, conservation area, and then small scale hold plantation, and some certification, and small, and then also value chain. I think this is also important point. Like we analyze harvest food product also contain a lot of the potential about the carbon storage. About the 1 cubic meter of wood can store about 0.1 ton of the carbon dioxide. So this is wooden building, important area. And also we see by the design, also value can be increased. So this is interesting development. And just a couple of points, I just like to congratulate this the SLBK, the innovative system. These three aspects, I think that the first, this assessment and the traceability. I think this is a good point, and also documentation. So just based on the website, I recognize based on the legal document in this year, wonderful. I saw the, yep, thank you. Yeah, very soon. This is the last, one more the last, yes. I share, and then the legal documentation has been increased around 206, also last year, 220, 230, like that way. So congratulations to Indonesian Ministry of Environment and Forestry. It's a wonderful, remarkable achievement to show the legality to the world. So illegal logging has been a lot of issue. So how to demonstrate legal trade of legal product to European market, Australian market, Japan market, Korean market, China. This is challenge, but this is great effort. And my last slide, also I learned Indonesian scientists working very well to wood identification by the machine, by computer. I think this is what I learned, that this identification ensure not entering into the CITES number 2 appendix exactly, and IUCN and these species can exactly, I think that this case, you know. So I hope that this wood species, and scientifically this can come up. And I believe the one more the idea is more the digitalization regarding geolocation. I think that will be somehow the EUDR, European Union free, the initiative, they require more the geolocation. So I think this is a good sign for I believe this is one of the best practice which I have seen in this region. So once again, congratulations in the region of all stakeholders. We are also looking forward to continue the development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. Thank you so much. Very interesting presentation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare for the questions because we come to the Q&A session. But before that, I would like to ask question to the distinguished speaker first, starting from Natasha. Lady first, yeah? Okay, Natasha, from your presentation, I'm very interested in, how you see, Indonesia and Australia. And I'm very, very interested in how the Australian government support the Australian Forest Product Association in promoting good forestry governance. What do you think? What is your perspective on this?
Is this on? Hello? Oh, great. Yeah, I don't think it is that engagement with the association that our governments, and across all sides of governments, are actually, they see us as what I would call a trusted partner. And you may have been in Sydney in October. I know your team was, and I presented at the Indonesian presentation there too for the FAO Asia Pacific Forestry Summit that happened in October in Australia. And we did partner with the government to actually co-host that, a marketplace, to really be able to showcase what Australia does as far as sustainable forestry, and also that Australia really wants to be known as a jurisdiction and a country that is looking to work across the Asia Pacific to really promote good sustainable forest management. And sadly, the way the Australian government works, or the framework in Australia, is that we have the federal government and then we have state governments. And state governments have their own laws around sustainable forestry in Australia. And it really is not just a challenge, I guess, across the Asia Pacific, but within Australia as well, is that, and when I use that bushfire example, one of the things that has happened in Australia is 2 of our states have banned native forestry. So essentially they don't allow the harvesting or the sustainable management of natural forests, and they're leaning more towards plantations. But what we found is, if you take the people out who manage the forests out of the system, the governments themselves don't have the capacity or the knowledge to manage those forests, and you end up with catastrophic bushfires. Too much fuel in the forest, not enough people understanding those ecosystems at the deep level that's needed. So I think, we work really closely with government. We don't always see eye to eye, but we continue to stay engaged. And I think all governments actually should be very closely engaged with their forest associations, and also the foresters and the local people that manage those forests.
Thank you, Natasha. I think we can have a good relationship and communication with the APHR, Indonesian Forest Concessionaires. Okay, one question to Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma, I just received the information about, new regulation, EUDR. It's a very, very interesting topic. Officially, MSPO for oil palm has been officially accepted by EU authority. For forest product communities, Indonesia has SWLK, you know that, right? Timber Legality Assurance System. And Malaysia also has MyTLAS. And we are both, Malaysia and Indonesia, are producers country and a member of ITTO, And how you see this, how you support Malaysia and Indonesia and as a member of ITTO in facing this regulation? We would like to know your perspective. Please make it short.
Our moderator has provided the most difficult question to me. I'm not a politician, but I'm the technician. But ITTO, we work very well with the member. We start from the certification. 20 years ago, post-certification. And then now the EU TR, EU Timber Regulation, and the US LACE Act, also Russia, the Illegal Logging Act, Japan Clean Act, all like working. So now we receive the new EU, the 10% free. So we have discussed also implementation very soon. Somehow we understand there are a lot of the gap, how to implement, how to operationalize. So that also last the council, the meeting in November, we also discussed seriously about the EUDR. But the point, I think today I learned so much the detailing of the Secretary General and our director. Somehow this system, SLBK more or less in Indonesia is compulsory. So somehow we are the member, mostly like voluntary. I learned from India case. India also I had to attend some certification, some UN, the country-led initiative. They discussed the certification. We discussed, but some country like India hasn't yet developed their own certificate scheme. So I understand your own SLBK is a wonderful starting point. So still I think there is a gap, but the EUDR requirement is also provide some capacity building program. ITT also very much looking forward the EU for the capacity building program, so that we can also produce some of the good documentation requirement based on that. But once again, I trust this the one page of the legal document and the good starting point, and then introduce the geolocation. But once again, also important point, I think mostly the big producer could be, they can accommodate such a thing somehow, but we are very much also concerned about how to do like smallholder, like medium smallholder. I think the government out the Pak Agus Sustianto out the DZ will have more idea. So how to provide such some technical service to small and medium the producers so that they can also enjoy that food there. I will understand once again, I mean, certification, great mechanism, but somehow the producer and smallholder, they are facing a lot of cost, too high, the transfer cost. So how to minimize that also another issue for future of the introducing mechanism. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have only 3 minutes left. So I think I cannot give, an opportunity to you to ask the question because we have 3 minutes before a closing remark from the DG. One question I would like to ask to Pak Ino. This is the last question before we end the session and before the closing remark from the DG. Pak Ino, I'm very interested in your presentation. And one question for you. What do you think? How crucial in implementing good governance on sustainable forest management? And another question, do you believe that the implementation of one data on sustainable forest management as one of the solution? What do you think?
Yes. Thank you. I think one of the important things to the implementation of the good governance is public disclosure. And the online management system that already developed by our government is to support our transparency and then how to effectively the data management and then how to monitoring and support in the decision-making process. And the second, the second question is, I believe that one data sustainable forest management, and we call it Satu Data PHL, in the implementation in the Indonesian Ministry of Environment and Forestry, is very promising, and provide public engagement opportunities, and then to ensure that the sustainable forest management in our country. I think that's all.
Thank you, Pak Ino. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the closing remark from the DG, I would like to make a conclusion, even though it is not perfect. But in closing, I would like to say Indonesia's commitment to sustainable forest management, encompassing 63% of its terrestrial areas, is articulated through 5 important pillars, which is Pak Ade already mentioned and explaining about that. And technology plays a central role evident in the information system on forest product administration, which is created by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. And Natasha also mentioned about that, right? And this technology-driven approach reflects Indonesia's dedication to transparent governance, informed decision-making, and effective resource management. As a global exemplar, Indonesia harmoniously integrates tradition and innovation, showcasing a path toward a sustainable coexistence between humanity and nature. And we learn from our neighbor, from Australia, and of course from ITTO. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is part of the session. I would like to invite our Director General of Sustainable Forest Management to give a closing remark. Give an applause for our distinguished guests.
Distinguished speakers and moderator, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. We have come to the end of this session, and I believe the presentation and also discussion are fruitful and enrich our understanding, especially on promoting good forestry governance in managing production and protection forests. We have discussed several matters on promoting good forestry governance, in managing production and protection forests, particularly the opportunities, major constraints, and what effort and technological advance to support the forestry governance. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the next step is to actively continue discussion in other platforms and sharing what is the best practice and lesson learned on promoting good forestry governance in forest management. The recognition of the role of the forest in economic, ecological, and social dimensions on the one hand, and the climate change associated effects on the other hand, have threatened the forest resources to be sustainably managed globally through good forestry governance continuous approach. We highly appreciate lesson learned from the Australia Forest Product Association and the International Tropical Timber Organization. In Indonesia, the Indonesia Ministry of Environment and Forestry developed an information system on forest product administration, or we call it Sistem Informasi Penata Usahaan Hasil Hutan, or SIPU, Timber Legality Information System, or Sistem Informasi Legalitas Kayu, Reporting and Work Plan Information System of the Forest Business License, we call it Sistem Informasi Rencana Kerja dan Pelaporan, or SISPAHUS, Sustainable Forest Management One Data, satu data PHL, and Thematic Geospatial Information, Sistem Informasi Geospasial Tematik or SIGAP, as an effort to show strong commitment from the government to support planning, decision-making, management, implementation, and monitoring of forest resources, land cover, forest utilization, and other activities towards transparent and good forestry governance. These strategies not only promote transparency in managing its 98 million hectares of production and protected forests, but also to help monitor the sustainable use of the resources to achieve forestry and other land use nets in 2030. With the recent and the dynamic of technological advance, there is an opportunity for improving good forestry governance. Thank you for speakers, moderator, and participant for the participation and contribution to this session. I thank you.